I gotta tell you, I have a really hard time believing that this Sophie restaurant received a bunch of death threats. This is very convenient timing that this happens when it is shown that their son was dressed up like an Antifa member, or it is an Antifa member, and was standing in front of an old lady, an old man, preventing them from entering a free speech event. These Canadian citizens who have lived here for probably generations, and you're going to have a refugee who's been living here for a couple years scream in their faces, call them Nazis, Nazi scum, and impede them from entering a public place, a place that they're allowed to go into. Just the gall of some people. But no, let's not focus on that. We're only going to focus on the imaginary death threats that this restaurant is receiving, which, for them to go to the media first makes me doubt their claims a little bit. If you're really that scared, you would probably go to the police immediately instead of waiting a couple days, going to the media, making sure that they report on it, and then go to the police afterwards, because maybe you kind of doubt the legitimacy of perhaps some of the messages that were left, because it wouldn't be the first time that somebody sent hateful messages to themselves. Would not be the first time. And I'm not saying, that just because it happens that there are no crimes like that and no hateful messages get sent. Maybe some did, but I'm gonna wait and see for that. But the media has essentially made this the story, instead of having another Syrian refugee doing some bad shit in Canada. But this is their goal. They only want to show usually good aspects of mass immigration, of bringing in these Syrian migrants, of bringing in or letting people cross your border illegally. They don't want to show you the negative aspects. They don't want to show you the cost involved. They don't want to show you the increase of violence. They just want to show you some African migrant in France climbing a building to save this child that's dangling off the side of a balcony, very close to what looks like his parent that could easily kind of like reach over and grab him. It kind of seemed very staged to me too. But they're going to focus on this Sufi restaurant, which is very conspicuous in and of itself as well. Because how do these refugees that have been in Canada for a couple of years, or only like a year or so when they open a restaurant, have enough money to buy a restaurant in downtown Toronto? That's a pretty expensive place to live. How do they come across those funds? Apparently, this family, or this kid, his family, is they own a resort in the Gulf. These people are wealthy. We're bringing in wealthy people into Canada. We're not bringing in these people that really need our help and all this stuff, but they're not going to focus on that. They're just going to focus on the hateful messages sent to Sufi's restaurant, which they're going to try to pin on the PPC. So now the people who were the victims of Antifa trying to impede on their event and this old lady and her rights, now they're going to try to make them out to be the bad people because, clearly it was a PPC member who was very angry at what this guy did and sent hateful messages to the restaurant. And did anybody even know that this kid was related to the people of the restaurant? I don't think anybody knew that until you came and announced it. And we're like, by the way, we're receiving hateful messages because our son participated in this thing, and we don't believe in violence and all this other crap. But they still didn't denounce what their son did, because they probably don't believe in free speech. They probably thought what he was doing was right. A lot of people on Twitter, I saw them, they're like, How is this guy look at this restaurant being punished just because their son was standing up to fascist and to fascism? And you're like, see, this is how people justify this type of behavior. And, this is beneficial for the media. This is beneficial for that restaurant, beneficial for Paramount Foods, who's coming in and saying like, oh, it's terrible, what's going to happen to you? I'm going to pay for all these workers to work here, and so until you feel safe again. So now he looks like a good guy. The restaurant is going to get more publicity. He's going to get publicity. The media gets to report on some hateful messages and smear the white supremacist PPC members and stuff, instead of focusing on the story with this refugee doing bad shit in Canada. There's other video of him like swearing and shit at Faith Goldie, giving her the finger. And you're like, go back to your country. You have a resort there. You're rich. They're just coming here for Canadian citizenship and whatever else that they can steal and bring back to their country when our country goes to shit. This is one of the things with people when you bring in mass immigration, when you bring in these types of refugees, is they have no allegiance to Canada. And when things go bad, they're gonna cut tail and run. They're not gonna stick around and help rebuild. So we really gotta try to vet these people a little bit better. I thought they were all vetted, right? But it seems to me that we're bringing in very rich people who can buy restaurants in Toronto, one of the most expensive cities in Canada. Like none of the media asked questions about that, was worried about that. Like, this seems kind of weird. I'm sure a lot of them wondered it, because you'd have to be a complete retard in order not to just at least have that thought go through your brain and be like, weird. Aren't these people refugees? But they're just gonna ignore it because they have a certain agenda, and that is to make us ignorant of the ramifications of mass immigration, the problems of the violence, of the fact that a lot of these people in Canada, these refugees, are still don't have jobs, still aren't actually contributing, and if they are taking jobs, they're competing for low-skilled jobs, which is just helping businesses, doing absolutely nothing for us. But that's pretty much all I had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.